So here now, Karl Rove, former Deputy Chief of Staff to President George W. Bush and a Fox News contributor. We understand that the warm-up Lee Greenwood is playing right now. The president should be out there in a few minutes. But, Karl, your thoughts on the Democrats, the shape that they're in campaign-wise, and when you look at these polls that I just discussed with Tom Perez?
Yeah, Chairman Perez used the word punchline. He should have used its synonym, laugh line, because that's what that cut. To suggest that the economy today is bad and the Democrats have everything to crow about and Republicans have nothing to crow about, and that the tax cut didn't help is ridiculous. We have, as you pointed out, very low unemployment rate, lowest unemployment rate among Latinos and African Americans since we began breaking the numbers out by race in 1948. And over the last 2 years, wages have been rising. They were rising in 2014, 2015, and 2016, but they were rising 75% more for the supervisors than they were the working people. The last 2 years, they've been rising 25% more for the working people than they have for their supervisors. And that's a large part of that is a result of the tax cuts. So strong economy is going to be a big plus for President Trump in the election. I was also taken aback by his remarks about impeachment. At first, he sort of suggested that having 49% of the American people saying the president ought to be removed from office is sufficient. No, we've never had that. We had to have a large bipartisan consensus to avoid a constitutional crisis, and the sort of the sort of ease with which he suggested that they were in great shape, and then to suggest that the president ought to be removed from office because he talked to the Ukrainians about investigating Joe Biden. Look. Would we be sitting here? He was the Assistant Attorney General of the United States in 2012. Do we really think that after Barack Obama got reelected, after having said to Dmitry Medvedev, the president of Russia, tell Vladimir, with regard to missile defense and other things, this is my last election. Yeah, I'll have more flexibility after the election. That was an open request for a quid pro quo. Would the Assistant Attorney General Tom Perez say, let's go indict the president and remove him from office by impeaching him over that? Heck no. And Hillary Clinton, she hired a British secret agent to call his buddies in Moscow to say, you got any dirt about Vladimir Putin? Would anybody suggest that if she were president today, Tom Perez would be saying, well, we ought to impeach her and remove her from office? Forget about it.
I think the president's just about to start. He's going to thank a whole bunch of people real quick. But before we go there, Karl, your thoughts on that swing state poll that shows this race tighter than it appears nationally?
Yeah, look, we elect presidents on the Electoral College. The president won with a minority of the popular vote before. 5 presidents have been such elected. And what matters is going to be the swing states and whether or not, you can run up the numbers in Texas if you're a Republican. You can run up the numbers in Wyoming if you're a Republican. You can run up the numbers in California and New York if you're a Democrat. But it really comes down to where do you come out in those swing states to determine whether or not you get to 270 electoral votes. And that Siena New York Times poll showed this is going to be a very tight race. And surprisingly, Elizabeth Warren was the weakest of the 3 candidates that they talked about.
Yeah, very interesting. Looking at these numbers, and now we're inside the 1 year to the election. Karl, thank you.